What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I think it's about time we snap back to reality with the Seattle Seahawks here. I spent most of yesterday on the college football playoff game and the fact that we had just entered a new year, that it was now 2024. I didn't talk that much about Seahawks stuff beyond what I felt obligated to talk about because there were other things going on, and who wants to really think about this stuff right now anyway? But now that we're here on Tuesday, let's talk a little bit about the scenario in front of us with one game to go. So I'm on the NY Times, New York Times playoff tracker thingy. So let's go through it. Most of you guys probably already know this. Most of you guys are probably already aware of the scenario, but I'll spell it out here just in case there are a few people who don't, and some people like to see the exact reasons why things are the way they are anyway. So the Seattle Seahawks, according to NYT, they have a 22% chance of making the playoffs right now. In order for them to get in, two things need to happen. So that's not the worst, only two things, because one of those things is the Seahawks need to win a game. That's just the bare minimum. First of all, the Seahawks need to win in Arizona against the Cardinals, and if they do that, their chances double approximately to 43%. So that's still technically unlikely, although that's I'm not unhappy about 43%. That's probably 43% more than we deserve with the way we played on Sunday against the Steelers, but 43% is still less than 50. So what else needs to happen in order for the Seahawks to get in? Well, as most of you know by now, because the TV shows, the internet, the X, Facebook have all posted a million times about it, the answer is they need the Bears to beat the Packers on Sunday. So if the Bears win, the Seahawks are in. They are in the wild card spot. They are in the 7 seed, and that's that. So that's the only thing. If the Packers win that game, then it's all over. Not making the playoffs, really not anything that can happen. None of these other games matter at all. So I guess that's kind of a good thing, right? We get to, at the very least, only focus on one game. I barely even need to do a rooting guide this week. In fact, I probably won't because only one game matters in terms of playoff stuff at this point. We need the Bears to beat the Packers. So obviously, today is Tuesday. We are still a long way away from these games being played. But now that we know the scenario, Seahawks win, Bears win, let's talk about that a little bit. So the first part is the Seahawks beating the Cardinals, which, I mean, if you have a lot of confidence in this Seahawks team winning any game right now, you shouldn't. I'm going to tell you this right now. You should not. Because this defense is so bad they can lose to anybody. And Arizona has played well this year. They're coming off a huge win against the Eagles. They had a big win against the Steelers not that long ago. The Steelers team that just beat us this week. They've played tough against a lot of pretty decent opponents. I don't know if they've been blown out more than once or twice this whole season. I think the Niners blew them out and the Ravens kind of blew them out. Other than that, they are in most of these games at least somewhat. They've embarrassed themselves less than we have this year, I feel like. Now, some of that is because they're such a bad team to start that it doesn't it takes a lot for them to really embarrass themselves, relatively speaking, but still, like, this team is in most of the games they play, and ever since Kyler Murray got back, they've been a threat to even good teams. Like, they actually did hang with the Niners a little bit. They straight up beat the Eagles. Not that the Eagles are a good team right now. I think we have to conclude that Eagles team is just bad at the moment. But they can run the ball with James Conner and Kyler Murray, and we cannot stop the run. This run defense is maybe worse than it was last year. Right now, we cannot stop the run at all. We can't tackle. We can't fill run gaps. We can't get our guys in the right position. There is nothing about this run defense that works at the moment. And honestly, I kind of feel like it's worse than it was last season when the teams like the Panthers and teams like the Niners and even God, who else was there in that stretch? Like Tampa Bay ran all over us. So there is no sure thing about us going to Arizona and winning at all. Now, the good news is I think our offense can have some success against them as long as we're keeping some of our players on the field. Like, we need Abe Lucas back. We need Gino to be okay. I know he got dinged up at the end of that game. We need K9 to be okay. He got dinged up in that game as well. I don't know if Evan Brown versus Oluwatimi matters that much, but I would rather have continuity. So my gut tells me, yeah, we kind of want Evan Brown out there. And yeah, I cannot be confident about anything with the Seahawks team right now because our defense is so bad that I feel like the capacity to blow a game is always within their reach. But that is a game that if you go apples to apples with the both teams, you would expect to win because our offense should also be able to eat against that defense. So, I mean, I don't feel great about it, but that is something that should be pretty darn doable. Now, the other side of this is the Bears. Now, famously, the Bears always lose to the Packers. There's the Aaron Rodgers' record against that Bears team and Brett Favre's record against that Bears team is off the charts, not even close. The Bears are, they are absolutely the redheaded stepchild in that you can't even really call it a rivalry anymore. Maybe it's a feud, but the Packers almost always beat the Bears. However, they don't have Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre anymore. They do have Jordan Love. And while that Packers team with Jordan Love has been playing decent football lately, they have not been on that level. The honestly, the main reason why the Packers always beat the Bears over the last 3 decades is that the Packers have usually been pretty good and the Bears have usually been pretty not good. So it's not that simple. Now, the Packers are coming off a pretty impressive game on Sunday Night Football against the Vikings. I don't know how much that means, but we've seen from the Packers this year, they have the capacity to lose to anybody. They lost to Tommy DeVito. They actually blew the game to Tommy DeVito. They let him march down the field for the game-winning drive. We've seen them also be able to beat the Chiefs. They were able to beat, I can't remember if the game was in Kansas City or not. I think it was in Lambeau, but they beat the Chiefs. Now, I don't know how great the Chiefs are this year, but there's a wide variance of possibility with this Packers team, it feels like. So I don't think it's correct to ascribe some automatic default win to them in this game, even though they're at home against this Bears team, because the Bears have actually been on fire lately. You go to their schedule, you take a look at what they've been doing. They've won 4 of their last 5, and the game they lost was the Hail Mary drop game against the Browns. They were up 2 scores on the Lions with 3 minutes left, and then the Lions staged this furious comeback to win that game. That it was a game they probably felt like they had in the bag, and then before that they beat Carolina. So in their last 7 games, the Chicago Bears have really played well in pretty much, well, I don't want to say well necessarily because some of these teams they're playing are not very good, but they have either won or probably should have won all 7 of their last 7 games. They've blown out Atlanta this most recent game. They beat up Arizona pretty good. They beat up Detroit. They should have swept Detroit, honestly. So there's reason to believe that we could catch the break that we need to get in here. Honestly, you could make a very good argument that the Bears winning is more likely than the Seahawks winning is the problem. So there's a decent chance we get the help we need and then screw it up ourselves. But that's the scenario. Let me know what you think down below. I'm going to catch you guys later. More videos coming soon. Go Hawks.